John derived no pleasure from his job. He worked in a factory. That phrase, factory worker, depressed the hell out of him. You might as well call him a cog in a machine. He'd heard of office drones, which sounded even worse. Drones, Jesus, he thought, who wants to be a drone? Like a lifeless robot. Well, hell, a cog is no better. At least a drone might be made to look like a human. Not the airplane-looking drones that drop bombs on people, he thinks. I mean the robot kind, like cyborg kind of things, like a drone. What's a cog? Just like a gear, a little metal thingy that turns and turns with all the other metal thingies. The little light above the square hole in the wall flashed 3 times, indicating that something was about to come through the plastic flaps. Those flaps always made John think of a cartoon mustache, like maybe on a walrus or something. A blustering walrus. Well, harumph, I never, good sir, harumph. Here came a shape pushing through the flaps, moving along the conveyor belt. John stood up begrudgingly, bored just about all the way to death. The Great Dane lay on its side, looking calm but bewildered, like a passenger on a train who had just awakened 100 miles past his stop. John opened his mouth wide and stuck out his tongue. In one long stripe, he traced his tongue from the top of the dog's head to the base of its spine, then slumped back onto his stool, waiting for the next one. The dog looked back at him as if to say, "What was that all about?" But John didn't notice. He glanced at the clock above the door to the break room and muttered to himself, 7 hours and 51 minutes to go. The light above the conveyor hole mouth flashed 3 times. This time, a poodle emerged through the walrus mustache. Harumph. John heaved a sigh and stood up. When I was in high school, I had 2 really good friends, and we used to play what we just called simply the writing game. And the point, or the way that the writing game works is each person starts a brand new story and writes half a page. And after everybody has half a page finished, you fold over the paper until it covers everything except for the very last line. If the last line is comprised of 1 word, because that just happens to be how things turned out, then so be it. Usually it's at least part of a sentence. Anyway, you pass that piece of paper on to the next person in a circle, and the next person has to continue the story based only on what they can see that hasn't been covered up, whether that's 1 word or a full sentence, whatever is there, that's what you have to work with. My friends and I used to play that game all the time because we were big dorks. It's just about the hardest I've ever laughed in my life. Of course, it's easier to laugh at stupid stuff when you're with your friends. Watching a YouTube video, not so much. But yeah, we did that so many times. We had a lot of fun doing that. This little non-story is a reflection, is one of the stories that I wrote actually way back when. When you only have a half a page, it's really easy to just fall into the pattern of trying to think of the dumbest, silliest stuff that you can possibly come up with. And this one sticks in my memory more than some of the others because at the end of playing the game, we would each take turns reading the result of it, and it was always bizarre. And my friend Steve read this one, and he read the whole thing very, nondescript, very plain voice. He wasn't doing any inflections or anything. Nobody was laughing. And at the very end, it registered in his mind what John did for a living. The fact that he was a professional dog licker. And yeah, Steve burst out laughing and he fell over, and that was a good result. So I figured I'd resurrect that one for this Inktober tasty. That was a good memory.